Intelligence issued a report after 90 days on virus origin, which reached no conclusion.
White House warned more terrorist attack in near future. Taliban freed thousands of ISIS prisoners.
GOP legislators introduced impeachment against Secretary of the State Blinken for failure in Afghanistan.
Core U.S. inflation index reached a 30-year high, but stock rallied to record high. Why is that?
We also have two major feature stories for you. One is the Capitol police officer who killed Ashley Babbitt on January 6th, and he revealed his identity. And who is he?
Second, a Hong Kong businessman's personal account on how Afghanistan helped CCP.
Welcome to Wei and Kathy Show. I'm your host, Wei Fang.
I'm Kathy Zhang.
First, a quick jump to the feature stories. So one has to do with the Capitol police officer who shot Ashley Babbitt to death. We talk about this topic for long enough. We never know who he is. And today, this is the identity is revealed. We will talk about that. And the second has to do with the Hong Kong businessman who knew Hong Kong, who knew China, and who happened to know Afghanistan pretty well. And he will give his personal account on what is going on there and how the Afghanistan is working with CCP. All right, so stay tuned for that. And the same thing, we'll be doing that on the Safe Chat. Now let's come to the news of the day. The first one has to do with the U.S. intelligence report, which people have been waiting for, really waiting for 90 days. And then what's the result, Kathy?
Right. So today, Friday, the summary, an unclassified summary was published. So the 17-agency U.S. Intelligence Committee announced that it reached an inconclusive assessment regarding the origin of the COVID-19, including whether the virus leaked from a Chinese lab. So remember, Biden in May ordered a 90-day review of what the White House said was an initial finding leading to two likely scenarios: an animal-to-human transmission or a lab leak. So what are the intelligence agencies find? So the agencies remain divided, actually, on the origin of the coronavirus, but believe that Chinese Communist government leaders did not know about the virus before the start of the global pandemic.
Okay, and among the agencies, 4 members of the intelligence community said with low confidence that the virus was initially transmitted from an animal to a human. Okay, so they believe so, but low confidence. A 5th intelligence agency believes that with moderate confidence that the first human infection was linked to that lab. So analysts do not believe the virus was developed as a bioweapon. Okay, and the CCP's refusals to fully cooperate with the U.S. And international investigations of the virus has hampered the review of the virus origin, per the report.
So
this is the Wuhan, as you know, WIV, Wuhan Institute of Virology.
Right. So the director of national intelligence said today that China's refusal to fully cooperate with U.S. and international investigators of the virus has hampered the review of the virus origin, and China continues to hinder the global investigation, resist sharing information, and blame over other countries, including the United States.
Yeah, I have to say there's a bit of disappointment because people have been expecting this, holding their breath for 90 days now to come through, basically say we don't really know, and that's sort of the situation, understandably, because actually 3 months ago I said China just CCP won't let people to go in and investigate. With them seal off the information over there, the origin. How can you conclusively, conclude? It's just very hard. Okay, and let's move to the Kabul situation. The White House warned today other terror attacks could be happening. All right, so repeated attacks by the ISIS terrorist group are expected following Thursday's lethal blast outside of Kabul's international airport, which left more than 170 dead, including 13 U.S. troops.
So today, after Biden's meeting with his national security team, White House spokesperson official told reporters that they were warned of a future terrorist attack. And actually, the General McKenzie yesterday also said the same thing. And advisors also told Biden they were working on plans to strike ISIS-K targets in Afghanistan. The official noted the next few days of this mission will be the most dangerous period to date.
And ISIS-K and ISIS affiliate claimed responsibility for the blasts, and they also brag about their suicide bomber managed to penetrate all the security fortifications put in place by the U.S. troops and also the Taliban. All right, let's move to the next piece of news, which is not good either.
Yeah, so because of the attack, the scrutiny of why those ISIS prisoners were released is really being questioned. So today, the Pentagon press secretary John Kirby confirmed that actually Taliban freed thousands of Islamic State prisoners after taking over the military bases from the Afghan government. Let's take a look.
In terms of ISIS-K, how many ISIS-K prisoners were left at Bagram and are believed to have been released from the prison there? And why weren't they removed before the U.S. pulled out to some place like Gitmo?
Well, I don't know the exact number. Clearly, it's in the thousands when you consider both prisons, because both of them were taken over by the Taliban and emptied. But I couldn't give you a precise figure. And as for emptying out, remember, we were turning things over to Afghan National Security Forces. That was part of the retrograde process, was to turn over these responsibilities. And so they did have responsibility for those prisons and the bases at which those prisons were located. And of course, as the Taliban advanced, we didn't see the level of resistance by the Afghans to hold some territory, some bases, and unfortunately, those were bases that the Afghans didn't hold. But all of those responsibilities were turned over in accordance with the retrograde plan back from April.
All right.
So, yeah.
Okay, the root of the problem has been planted several months ago. So basically, they were caught off guard. They couldn't react enough, and none of them were supposed to be moved to the Guantanamo Bay, and now they are all free. They become the new round of troop on the terrorist side. Anyway.
Yeah, so the current situation really is a concern by many people. Two of the House Republicans, House members, have introduced articles of impeachment against the Secretary of State, Anthony Blinken, because they feel that the chaotic withdrawal of U.S. troops from Afghanistan after a suicide bombing resulted in the death of 13 U.S. servicemen at the Kabul airport. So they are South Carolina Representative Ralph Norman and Maryland Representative Andy Harris. They argue that Mr. Blinken did not give President Biden proper advice and deserted in U.S. interest in Afghanistan.
And then Florida Senator Rick Scott and the North Carolina Representative Madison Cawthorn, they argue that the 25th Amendment shall be on the table, along with the possibility to have Mr. Biden removed from the office. All right, let's move on to look at the key inflation gauge today. Okay, we got some surprise here. So Federal Reserve have a preferred inflation gauge. It's called Core Personal Consumption Expenditure Price Index. Really long name. Basically, it's an inflation index. Okay, they reach a level not seen in 30 years.
So in April, this index was at 3.1%. In May, it was 3.5%. And that's the figure was 3.6 in both June and July. So for year-over-year vote, this is unprecedented in 30 years, and the last high was in 1975.
A little unbelievable, huh? 1975. What is
Right.
that? That was Jimmy Carter, even before Jimmy Carter. Anyway, okay. And everyone is watching how Fed would, whether they would raise the rate in today's meeting in the Jackson Hole, Wyoming. They're holding the meeting there. But because in response to the pandemic hit to the economy, the Fed last year, as you remember, dropped interest rate almost to zero and set out on a massive asset purchasing program. So basically just, pump up the economy, okay, with a very loose policy. And then Powell, the Fed Chairman Powell's speech today suggests that he was more inclined to wait to see further progress made in the economy before adjusting policy and tapering asset purchases. Basically, he's not making move. He want to wait. And so that's why the stock reached new high, because investors, they're very nervous. They're afraid that the Fed will raise the rate or plan to raise the rate. The Fed saying, no, we are still waiting. So stock hit new high, and for some of you, I hope that helps. And okay, that's the news of today. So next, we're going to move on to the two feature stories. One has to do with the Capitol Hill shooting, death of Ashley Babbitt. The second is a very a famous Hong Kong businessman have his insight. Okay, let's move over to Safe Chat and let's do it together.
And actually, I think before then, maybe we just take a look at our audience, some of the comments.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, while people are moving over to Safe Chat. So, Ocean Bay said Mao Zedong's famous saying, "Don't fight uncertain battle, and don't fight battle without internal spy."
Okay.
Yeah, and Ruth said lots of disappointment from U.S. investigations and the policy these days. So sad. I think she was probably referring to the COVID origin report. Yes, I think a lot of people would be disappointed of what they are revealing right now. But it's actually inconclusive. That is because of the CCP government's tempering this investigation. Yeah.
Okay, and so for those of you using the Safe Chat, if you use iPad, there's still some problem. Compatibility testing is is not full yet. Making sure if you use iPhone or Android phone, that'll be good, much better. And then for the desktop, it's a little shaky. For the iPad, it's not as reliable. But anyways, so just this is still young platform, and we have to make it succeed. And thank you for using that. And follow us over there. And
and thank you, Westfield Artworks 81. Yeah, so really appreciate your support. And actually, right now, although we do half of the program here, your likes, your comments still would help our channel here. So yeah, really appreciate.
It's really moved my heart. Well, every time I see the concurrent viewers and then the likes is more than the concurrent viewers. Basically, everybody here, you support us, you love us, and thank you so very much. It's an honor to have you with us. Okay, let's move on to the Safe Chat so that we can talk more freely. And okay, 1, 2.